Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this next edition of our 49er Industry Chats. My name is Noemi Guevara, and I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement here at Cal State Long Beach. Before we start our great session today, I would like to let you know that this is being recorded and will live on our website at csulb.edu/alumni. Also, for today's discussion, we encourage you to use the Q&A box located below to put out any questions you want for our speaker today, as that helps us keep track of all the questions that you'll be submitting. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Vince Calles, an alum of the class of 2013, who majored in philosophy and currently serves as a member of the CSUB Alumni Council Board. Thank you so much, Vince, for joining us today. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm excited to introduce to you guys one of our favorite alumni here. Just doing research on him when I found out that I was going to be the moderator. Super excited. I love just this topic of what he's going to cover today. So let me introduce you to Walter Hekimian, proud Long Beach State alum, earned his marketing degree from the College of Business 1972. And just 2 years later, he ended up earning his MBA over at UCLA. And so he has been a healthcare provider for more than 45 years, an expert in his field. He was able to manage multiple nursing homes. He even started a therapy service business. And on top of that, he led 2 separate organizations that were publicly recognized for operational excellence. So Walter, he's been on multiple committees on the state level, on the national level. He was also a chairman of the board of the California Association of Nursing Facilities. And so, he's earned many awards, a lot of them in leadership and integrity, quality service. And he was also recognized for a Lifetime Accomplishment Award within that nursing home sector within the County of San Diego. And so I'm excited to be able to have this industry chat with him. Mr. Walter Hekimian, welcome.
Thank you. There I am. Okay, great.
That's it, yeah.
How would you like to do this, Vince?
Yeah, we can just do a bit of Q&A. So just we can start off with I know I kind of ran down your a scroll of your accomplishments, but one of the topics that you mentioned was leadership. So we can start with that. What is your view on leadership right now within the organizations, and how important is that with the COVID-19 battle?
Well, I think it's the most important thing. And a friend of mine used to say, leadership matters. So if you're not leading, someone else is, and then that means that they're not they may not be accomplishing your goals. So the important thing, I believe, is to set expectations for everybody. So when I've had my greatest successes as a leader, I've been able to set visions for everybody. Many of them thought that they were unattainable visions, and yet over time we're able to accomplish them because we continuously reminded the employees what our goals were, why they were our goals, and reinforced how important they were. So we did that over time, and we were able to raise the bar considerably for a number of places that I was able to work. Mm-hmm. Privileged.
So how do you, how important is it to keep a level head when things start to get a bit rocky?
Well, I have a family member who is a PhD psychologist, and he says, this is how Walt says that there's a fire. There's a fire. And this is how Walt says that there's he won $1 million. I won $1 million. The joke, and the reason why I relate to it or relate it to you, is because I think that you need to be level. Your staff does not want to see you temperamental, high one day, low the next. And if you do that, then you're basically saying this is acceptable behavior for everybody. And I think that by staying level-headed, staying the course, being as honest as you are capable of being, and saying we'll get there, this is the way that we need to do it, and not be afraid to listen to others as they're sharing their ideas with you along the way, I think that that's really important. So I think staying calm is really important. When I had my therapy company, we named a team. was called Team Rehab. And what we did is the reason why we came up with team was we said, together, each accomplishes more. There was no I in the company. And as a result of that, we were able to grow in a period of 3 years from zero revenues to over $3 million in revenues. So, and it was because everybody bought into it's all of us. It's not one of us, it's all of us. We had one other thing that we used. We used the what. And whenever I share this with the staff, they laugh, but I think that it holds great strength for an organization. The W stands for work hard. Guess what? When you start to work, you better give your best effort. It's not a half-hearted effort. You must work hard. That should be your expectation of yourself, and it should be your expectation for everybody that's with you.
Right.
The H in what stands for have fun. Everybody remembers that one, okay? But you know, if you're going to work hard, then you should be able to play hard. If you have successes, you should celebrate those successes. It's very, very important that you not only work hard, but that you have fun. The A stands for act accountable. And that is, if you're assigned something, it's up to you to hold up your end of the bargain. You must do that. I was fond of saying everybody wore a hat. We all wore different hats. In my career, I tried to treat everybody as equals until there was a situation that required my position to make a decision. Up until that point, everybody had an equal voice, and it was my desire to foster an environment whereby everybody could feel comfortable expressing their point of view, even if it was different than where I wanted us to go or what I was thinking. I tried to foster that. So in acting accountable, you know, if you're head of purchasing, then we expect you to do a great job in purchasing. If you're the head of HR or an HR person, we expect you to do everything that you're supposed to do in HR. And then the T in what stands for tell the truth. And there's nothing worse than a person relating to their supervisor incorrect information. And you must develop an environment where people feel comfortable. You know, I messed up. It's not okay to mess up continuously. It's certainly not okay to make the same mistake repeatedly. But, you know, everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay. You just have to tell people, because if you tell your supervisor, in other words, if it's me and I've gotten information from one of the people that report to me, and I share it with my supervisor, and then we find out it was incorrect information, my supervisor is not going to have much confidence in me anymore. So the what was really important. So it's work hard, have fun, act accountable, tell the truth. And
I love that.
Those they served us very, very well. So you know, I worked at a nursing home. I worked at multiple nursing homes. I've worked at singular nursing homes, and I've worked overseeing almost 50 nursing homes. And one of the most recent situations, I worked at a nursing home, and they had never had a zero deficiency survey. And in 5 years managing the building, we had 4 of them. Before I got there, they'd never had any. Since I left, they've never had any. So it's the environment, it's the leadership.
So what does that mean, though? What is that? You mentioned the survey.
Well, every year nursing homes get surveyed by the Department of Health.
Okay.
Okay, and you know, if the temperature of the food is not right, that's a deficiency. If you're not using hand washing techniques, that's a deficiency. Or it can get worse, and be citations and be finable offenses. But to get a zero deficiency survey, there's 1,200 nursing homes in the state of California. There's 50,000 nursing homes in the United States. Of the 1,200 in California, maybe 1% get a zero deficiency survey. We had zero deficiency surveys 4 out of 5 years.
Wow.
And since leaving, they haven't had one. Then I went to this last assignment that I had, and I was there just shy of 9 years. And I told them the same thing. We were going to get a zero deficiency survey. The medical director thought I was reliving my time in the 60s. Okay. And,
Talk about putting that big vision out there, right? You're casting
well, yeah.
this vision for everybody to lift up to those standards.
And we did it. So again, 1% of the nursing homes in the state of California. The nursing home that I was at most recently was high turnover, heavily populated with Medi-Cal patients, everybody that no one wanted to take care of. And yet, in order to get to that zero deficiency survey, again, we provided leadership, we set out expectations, we reminded them repeatedly about what, and then we supported the staff to do whatever they needed to do. It's real critical, if you provide leadership and you don't provide support, it doesn't help you. You need, the function of a manager is to make sure that they're supporting the staff. The staff, it's supposed to come to you when they need something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to handle it otherwise, but if they come to you, then they're telling you that they need something. That there's an expectation on their behalf and on their part that you need to provide something for them. Maybe it's something that they've never experienced. Maybe it's trouble getting X, Y, or Z, whatever it is. It's the responsibility of the supervisor to make sure that they get that for them.
Yeah, and when I was just kind of going over your accomplishments, right? You're saying 45 years in the healthcare industry. Most people, they don't stick around 2-3 years in any industry. They kind of bounce around between other things. So what made you want to go to UCLA and then get your MBA and then go into the healthcare industry field? Because you think of someone getting an MBA, it's like, okay, they're going to go and open a business, or is business and healthcare management, are they related in the same way then? Or
oh yeah, I went to UCLA because I was fearful that I was going to get drafted, and I didn't want to take I didn't want to take a job that someone might be able to get, and so I applied to UCLA, and fortunately I was able to get in, and even more fortunate, I was able to graduate. And but I started working in the nursing home business because, first off, my parents had owned one, and I was comfortable dealing with my grandparents. And some people are afraid of elderly people. And I was never afraid of elderly people. Matter of fact, I always thought of them as wisdomful. So that was the first part. And the second part was that as a role as a nursing home administrator, the very first thing that you have to do is you have to be the leader. You're immediately put in. And I felt that my passion was to lead others. Okay. Most people in the nursing home business, particularly when I joined 45 years ago, but their passion was to provide good patient care. And I always thought that the passion should be to make the staff happy, because if the staff was happy, then they would be happy when they dealt with the patients. And if they were happy and the patients were happy, whatever your goal was, you would succeed in achieving your goal. Whereas if you forced everybody to make sure that the patients got X, Y, and Z, and you were constantly on them, making their work environment a difficult place, sooner or later that's going to break. Mm-hmm. And so graduating UCLA, I wanted to lead others, and I felt that the nursing home business would afford me that opportunity, and it did.
It makes me wonder, had you been drafted, right? You're talking about leading people. I think you would have had success.
You're not an officer. You are, a raw recruit.
Kind of work your way up.
No, it wasn't for me. No.
Right. So you graduated, right?
There was something called Vietnam when I was going to school. So
right.
It was something that I was anxious to do.
So when you graduated then, did your parents still have that nursing facility? And were you able to?
They had sold it.
Oh, okay. But were you exposed to that, at a younger age? So you were kind of seeing like, okay, I could kind of do this as well?
I built the first nursing home that was FHA approved in the United States in 1962. And it was on the East Coast. We lived in Massachusetts. And so my mom was an RN, and it was partly her vision to get the thing built. And then she was their first director of nurses. And so I would go in and see the people and see the staff and learn to appreciate both. but then we, we left it and we moved to California, and it was, let's say 10 years later before I got back into nursing homes. I was not so much driven to nursing homes as I was driven to be in a leadership position. I really wanted to be. I didn't want to go, I had a great MBA from UCLA. I didn't want to go in sales, and had not chosen to be an accountant or something along that path. I had chosen to be either marketing or management, and I had ended up in, I guess, in just management.
Mm-hmm. When just if you're saying that 1% will reach that, I guess, like the passing with flying colors, what is it that the other nursing homes aren't doing that's getting them a ding or some kind of fine? And what are things that they could do to improve themselves?
The nursing home profession, I saw that Cynthia had sent me information that said that there were people that are going to consider going in the nursing home profession. Mm-hmm. It's better sharpen your elbows. It's a very difficult profession. I say that it's a difficult profession because there's high turnover generally. If you only have 40% turnover, generally that's a good nursing home. 40% turnover every year. Just think about that.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. Invariably, the for-profits are trying to make money, which they should, but the margins are so tight that everybody is clamoring for, let's say, Medicare patients, the most lucrative of the patients. And so sooner or later, some facilities get it, and the other facilities, the only way that you can make ends meet is to tighten your belt. And every time you tighten the belt, it just means that the supplies are less for the staff. Staff is turning over. You have no consistency of the care, and it creates problems. I was fortunate in both last two locations that the staff was there for long periods of time, and those that were there got it. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have some people that just don't get it,
Yeah.
But you hope that, they're limited in their impact in the building. And as long as everybody sees the positives that are going on, then you're all set.
Yeah. And I always think about, in leadership, there's this, relinquishing power, almost like delegating, but letting others define their role, but letting them also make decisions that contribute to the bigger whole. What are your views on that?
Oh, absolutely. That's critical. If you think that you have the time to micromanage everybody, you don't know what you're doing. The way that I looked at it was I had a little bit of knowledge in each of the departments, and the little bit of knowledge made it so that I could be engaged with that person. But, I didn't know all the whys and the wherefores about the Medi-Cal billing system, nor did I need to. I didn't know all the whys and the wherefores of the documentation, but I'm not a nurse. I don't need to, but I knew enough. A friend of mine became licensed, and he said, the day I became licensed, I became an expert in laundry, housekeeping, dietary, maintenance. And there's truth to that in the nursing home business. Okay. Particularly right now with COVID, who's getting the worst rap in all of this, other than perhaps some of the government entities or individuals within the government? It's the nursing homes. And if you look, the nursing homes that are getting hardest hit were the ones where the governors said, oh no, the patients have to go back in the nursing homes, and they didn't pay attention to what was really happening. And if you think that it looks like, at least from my vantage point, that if you're over 75 and you get it, particularly when it first came out, it was not a good thing to have. Still isn't a good thing, but it looks like the numbers of those dying is a lot less. Well, nursing homes are still on restricted visitors. So just imagine, you're a young fellow, just imagine your grandfather or grandmother being in a nursing home and you can't go visit them since March. Okay. So, and where they could socialize and play bingo and have community meals and that kind of thing, they can't do that right now either. So the nursing homes with limited resources, sometimes many of the staff go between two facilities. They work I had a woman that worked 21 years, 2 jobs. She never had a day off in 21 years. She'd work 5 days a week at one place and 5 days a week at another place. So some days she only worked 8 hours and other days she worked 16 hours for 21 years. And, you know, what happens when you go from one nursing home to the other nursing home, if you've got the COVID virus, you're spreading it. So all of the requirements that you have to make sure that your bases are covered, that you're not bringing it into the building, are amplified. Besides the family, you know, when you go home to your family, that your spouse, significant other, or whatever, hasn't come into contact with someone, and you in effect get it 14 days later. So it's not, this is not an industry for the faint-hearted. You must have a passion for what you're doing. Some part of it, you know, if you're not going to go into this portion of healthcare, then find something else. There's lots of different areas that you can go into, but this one is challenging, to say the least.
How would you have someone kind of, you know, toughen up a bit, toughen up their skin? Is that something that you bring up front, right in before they even start working there at these nursing facilities, or is just that's the expectation already in that field? Like, hey, it's going to be.
In order to become a nursing home administrator, I'm going to presume that, you know, we're talking to college grads, so they're not going into being the medical record technician. They're going to go in and they're going to run the building. There's an apprenticeship in the building that you must go through, an administrator in training program. I'm not sure if it's 500 hours because you have a bachelor's degree, or it's 1,000 hours. If it's 1,000 hours, that means that it's a half a year. So you're immersed in what's going on. You're learning as you go. You're not the only person there, because technically an administrator should still be in the building guiding you. And then when the 6 months are up, you have to take a state test and a federal test, and you have to pass both of them. And then once you pass them, then you're technically licensed. And I would guess, using your terms, you've got a little tougher skin and you're ready to go. But you're also very wet behind the ears.
Wow.
You just don't have any idea.
And that's why we appreciate you being on here, because we want to just, you know, let the students know. And there's even some alumni that are, you know, either in the industry now, they're starting off, or they're considering maybe doing a career change and getting into it. So I appreciate you just kind of being upfront about what the expectations are. And that's part of that leadership, right? Of managing expectations. Right. This is what might happen. This is how you have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah. Now there's 2 sections. There's the for-profit section and the not-for-profit section. The not-for-profit section still has the same challenges, but it doesn't have the same intense pressure to produce a bottom line. You still probably have to produce a bottom line, but maybe your bottom line is coming from donations or fundraising, as opposed to doing it by finding a better system or a less costly way to do something, and making your money that way.
Right. You know, I'm curious too, how do you go about then getting the recognition from an entire county? Like, are you guys ranked somehow, or just, you know, people vote by?
There's 17,000 people in the county, and there were 300 people that were working at the nursing home that I was working at. And before I got there, the nursing home industry, everybody thinks of the nursing home industry as, oh, place smells, people go there to die, it's not a good environment, you know, I don't want to be there, you know, that's not how I want to end up. Okay. And so the nursing home industry decided that they needed to do something to improve their image. So they came up and they borrowed off something that Malcolm Baldrige, who was the Secretary of Commerce under Ronald Reagan, he had come up with something in terms of companies that strive for excellence. And they would earn something called the Baldrige Award. And it's a national recognition. And when it first got started, the president would actually be a part of the presentation. I mean, it was a big deal thing.
A big deal.
And so the nursing homes said, well, we want to get involved with this. And so they started what they called bronze, silver, and a gold journey. And when I got there, the facility had earned a bronze award. And of course, I set the expectation that we would earn a silver award. And we did that. And then someone said, well, the leadership said, well, you need to come up with an audacious goal, as they called it. And so we said, okay, we'll strive to get a gold award. Well, there are, as I said earlier, there's 15,600 nursing homes in the United States. And at the time of the program had been in existence about 20 years. And they had 30 facilities in the United States that had earned a gold status. So it was worse than a dissertation. It was a 65-page report that you had to answer specific. It wasn't answer questions. It was tell us how you do this and answer that question. And so and then they brought 3 folks into the building to observe, because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. Well, the facility earned a gold award and became the 32nd in the nation to earn a gold award. Either the 30th, 31st, or 32nd. There were 3 of us that got it at the same time in 2017. And all of a sudden, to get back to your question, the county took note and said, holy cow, first they got a silver award, now they got a gold award, and what's going on there? And so they looked at us, and someone looked and said, well, he must have a lot of integrity or something. And I got an integrity. And then the following year, there's only one nursing home that's ever earned a Baldrige Award as a nursing home. And it's in Podunk, Idaho. And the facility, Ma and Pa, have been there for 1,000 years. There's no turnover of the population. Everybody's been living in the community for a long time. There's no turnover of staff, and they earned a Baldrige Award. The only one in the country. Well, we applied, and they gave us a site visit, which is you're right at the edge of the diving board, just nearly there, or the finish line, I should say. And we didn't earn it. Well, the county looked at that and said, the fact that you got a site visit, you must be doing something with leadership. And so, out of 17,000 people, somehow I was selected as the leader of the year. That was in 2018, I guess it was.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's a great story. I was wondering about how do you get an integrity award too? So
I give up. So
I thought they were going to do the cupcake on a table and don't eat it, and then
I don't know. They gave me a nice little plastic plaque. So anyway.
That's awesome. I love that story too. And just some of the notes that I'm taking from what you were saying as well is, okay, so you come in and you kind of assess what they're currently doing, and then you say, all right, let's go to the next level. Right. So when you do that, what do you focus on first? Are you focusing on process more, or maybe like team culture? Is it both?
Well, I not process. I think that I focus on 2 things, team culture and the people. Because if you don't have the right people in place, you're not going to get anywhere. And so over time, particularly with the county, those people stayed forever. And the only way that they were going to leave is to either promote out, sometimes it happened, or retire. And fortunately, the ones that needed to promote out did, and the ones that needed to retire did. And that's how we were able to do that. So, but the key, I think, is, as we talked about earlier, you have to empower the staff.
Yeah.
You got to get the right people. And, if you've got the right people in place, they'll move the mountains. You don't need to figure out how to move the mountain. There were times when in my last job, people say, well, what does he do? I don't get it. And then we were winning all these awards, and they still want to know, what does he do? Well, I guess, I'm the guy that waters the plants. Water the plants, they bloom, and everybody feels warm and fuzzy. The county, I had people that had worked for us for 30 years, worked for the county for 30 years. And as a result of the Gold Award, I got the county to give every employee in the building 2 days of pay. And I had people 30 years in the county, and they said, I've never seen this. So you see, the county liked awards, recognition.
Bragging
Okay.
rights.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Bragging rights. So they didn't care if I was making money or losing money, although I was making money. That was not their, just keep us out of the news. And if you're going to be in the news, it better be for something positive. And so we got this positive press. And as a result of that, 2 days of pay was Herculean in the county. So, and guess what? The staff said, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. So
I'm a legend at that point.
Well, I don't know, but if you're trying to go strive from the gold to the Baldrige, I don't know, if you got 2 days of pay for gold, what are you going to get if you get a Baldrige?
Right.
Okay. So there's an unsaid incentive. And I just felt like, okay, let's try it. And, we were all bummed that we didn't get it, but the county came out and supported us after the fact and said, just the fact that you got a site visit was pretty special. So I just think that, again, if you set the expectations, you're not afraid to talk about it. I think that like the politicians do, they repeat, because you never know, someone might not have heard the message. You just have to keep repeating the message. And sooner or later, as individuals get it, more individuals get it. And pretty soon it becomes a part of the culture. I think the ship needs to be turned, but it needs to be culturally turned.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to appreciate everybody that you're working with, even the ones that don't seem to be pulling their weights. There's something about each one of them that speaks to their uniqueness. One other thing, very, very important.
Yeah.
I learned this when I was at Long Beach. I had a chemistry professor. His name was A.G. Tharp. He was a lifelong friend of mine until he died. And A.G. Tharp, I had him for a chemistry class freshman year. And the first day of class, there were 150 students in his class. It was an SC1. I don't know if it's still SC1. And within 2 weeks, he had everybody's name memorized. Now, 150 people, and you memorize 150 people's names is one thing. Then the second thing he did, or I learned from him, was that you need to find out something about that person. So the next time I see Vince, I can say, well, how's that philosophy degree working out for you? How's the wife and kids? I remember last time you told me such and such. So as opposed to walking in the building and saying, hi, how are you? Some people said that I had a gift for remembering names. My gift was that I never allowed myself not to learn your name. So I would go up to people 7 and 8 times and say, I'm sorry, I just can't remember your name. I know I met you yesterday. What's your name? And they would look at me like I was crazy. Okay. But when I finally learned their name, then I'd find out, so-and-so adopted a child. So-and-so else had a sister that had bad cancer. So-and-so else just had, a new baby. So-and-so else was, their family was, they were going to go on a vacation someplace, or they were from Minnesota, or whatever it was, so that you set a commonality, a togetherness, that they know that, they're not just a widget. They're not just number 17 employee. They're something special. And I think that if you force yourself to learn everybody's names, no matter how embarrassing it is, it's not easy. It was not easy for me. Okay. But after you do it for a while and you learn, people appreciate the fact that you can remember their name.
Wow. They say the sweetest sound is the sound of your own voice. And, I hope that all of you guys that are on this call and in the future, when you're seeing this recording, you took notes on that right there specifically, because I think that was the golden nugget in what we're talking about here, is getting involved in somebody else's world, not just about being a boss or, hierarchy or anything like that. It's about getting to know them. So, just some of the things that we're pulling from Walter, right, is, okay, get the standard, go big. go even bigger, right? Pull a dream, get the vision, everybody get on board to this, for this goal. Getting to build a team culture, getting to know and understand your team, the right people will move mountains for you, and then the accolades start to show. Because that's something that I noticed too when we're dealing with a lot of students or just recent alumni, is that they want that success right off the bat, immediately, without putting in the work. They want the 6-pack of abs going to the gym once a week. It's not going to happen, you know. But when you start putting in that work and dedication, then it starts to flourish. So I love the fact that you shared that story with us. And just to give you some, you know, on the comment section that I'm hearing, you got a lot of congratulations on getting the Gold Standard Award, huge achievement.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't mean to oversell it. It's a huge accomplishment. I mean, in our industry, it's a really huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. And there's also, if you could talk a little bit about a short clip that you have, maybe we could post this on for afterwards.
Yeah. So when we earned the award, the National Nursing Home Association meets annually, and they make a big deal out of that award. So in the course of its now 23, 24 years of operations, the bronze award of the 15,000, I would bet you somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 nursing homes have earned a bronze award. And the silver award has been earned by maybe 2,000, let's say. And you can't get a silver award until you've earned a bronze award. Mm-hmm. And of those 2,000 that have earned the bronze award, only 30 at the time, 32 had earned. Back then, it was maybe 1,500, and of the 1,500, only 32 had earned a gold award.
Wow! So
they give you the opportunity to be recognized, and they give you the opportunity to be recognized in front of your peers, you know, nursing home providers from all over the United States. And they give you the opportunity to say thank you. And when your viewers, if they choose to listen to it, it's mostly a thank you. But the part that I wanted to emphasize is that the word "I" is never used in a 3-minute talk, because I didn't do it. We did it. And I didn't do anything other than I happened to be in a position of leadership, and everybody drank the Kool-Aid. Everybody understood where we wanted to be. Everybody bought in, and then everybody worked hard, had fun, acted accountably, and told the truth to get us to where we needed to be. And so we earned that award.
Yeah, when I, you know, just having this conversation with you, I always think of, you know, this quote that I had read. It said, you know, it's great to be part of a championship team, but it's even better to be a leader on that championship team. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think of you when I hear that quote. And so just, you know, thank you for just contributing to this talk. And it's just the topic of leadership, and I mean, that we won't do it justice in this, you know, 50-something minute webinar, but what are things that somebody can do to develop their leadership skills? Is it book? Is it, you know, mentorship? Is it confidence?
I think that there's a few things that you can do. The first thing is do what you're doing today, and don't be afraid to continue to try and learn. Because guess what? There's more stuff out there. You can always learn from someone. I would try and find a mentor or someone that you think is a role model, and try and find out what they're doing, and try and pick up some of their traits that you may not have, or that you may need to work on to improve. And don't be afraid to work hard. You know, you talked earlier, but, you know, if you're a child and you were given a bicycle, it really didn't mean much, and you probably beat it up. Or if you were given a car, you know, it's nice, thanks mom and dad, but, you know, it really didn't mean much. But the moment that you bought your own bicycle, or you paid for your own car, it meant a lot more. Well, you've put a lot of time and energy into doing to get your degree. It wasn't easy. It didn't come without a lot of effort. And now that you have it, embrace it, know what it is, and build upon it. So I would seek a mentor. I would seek out fellow alumni, and And don't be afraid to fail. It's okay. Just pick yourself up and go on. Everybody fails at something. Sometimes you fail a lot. So, but it's okay, because as long as you can pick yourself up and get started again, you'll get there. Sooner or later, get there. The race isn't a 60-yard dash. It's a marathon. 45 years later, it's still there. So just do that.
Great answers here. So I'm going to take the next few minutes to ask you some of the questions that are here on the chat group. One of them says, gerontology and aging populations are top issues right now. What are some areas that future leaders in the field need to focus on to enhance care in and out of nursing facilities?
Well, infection control is the biggest one right now. Everybody's worried about infection control. And that would be the first. The second would be innovative ways to provide care. Right now, the older nursing homes that were built in the 60s and the 70s, it's a 3-bedroom. You look to your left, it's your new best friend. You look to your right, it's your other new best friend. But, maybe there's a different way that it can be done. So, whoever comes up with that different way, improved way, will be rewarded for doing so. So, the first issue right now is you got to take care of the infection control. The second issue is maybe there's a different way to do it.
Okay. Got another question here. It says, are you still operating your own therapy service business, and do you work with your wife?
Yes, I'm still operating my therapy service business. When I started it, she wanted to work with me, and I told her that it was my child and that I would be raising my child. So no, she doesn't work with me. And the therapy business was really a great business, and but it was government dependent. And then the government found that there were some unscrupulous people that were charging outrageous sums, and so they clamped down on it and pretty much destroyed the business. So I have a contract. I've had the same contract for, 25 years, and I keep telling them, please just hire my staff, and they say, no, we want you to be here. So I have a business in name only for right now.
Good. Okay, next question here. It says, how do you implement change, especially when you worked for the county? And if you have any advice for those that are in leadership roles in public service?
Well, I think that you have to understand the environment that you're in. If you, when I first got to the county, I thought that I needed to look at the profit and loss statement. And within a very short period of time, I discovered that wasn't the important thing. So I stood back and looked at it, and then I realized that the important thing was to stay out of the news, which meant deliver a good service. And then secondly, find a way to get some positive notoriety. So I would say that it's assessing the environment. So, if you're in public service, while I'm not an expert in public service, I can talk within my purview, the nursing home. We just found a way to make it so that we could expand our wings still under the auspices of the county, and not make it so that, they had to come in and visit us every day or no micromanaging. So you can look around and say, well, I wonder if there's something that I could do here. And my experience was that I saw people within the county that had visions of promoting something that would be positive to the population that they serve, and the county allowed them to do it. They had to sell the county, but they were able to sell the county and go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, let's see. Is there any more questions that we have here from the panel? Let me see what else we got here. Yeah, good job, by the way, too, Walter.
Thank you.
Well, there's one that says, can you speak about your role as Assistant Deputy Director with San Diego County?
Sure. By virtue of being the administrator of the building, someone did their homework, because I don't think I put that out there, so that's very good. By virtue of my position, the administrator, when I came in, they gave me the title Assistant Deputy Director. So it just came with the position. It wasn't something that that earned. And in my career, candidly, first off, it was toward the end of my career, or at the end of my career. But from my vantage point, I was as far as I was going to go, unless I had some, public health experience, which I didn't have. So, they only had one nursing home in the county, and so that was it. I was going to manage the nursing home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the university does their research. Apparently, there's an unpaid parking ticket from 1971, but they let it slide.
No.
Okay, so we got another question here. It says, how did that role support you in running your own nursing facility?
How did the what?
How did that role support you in running your nursing facility? The role of deputy?
Oh, it just meant that I had access to the director of the department, so that if I needed something, that I could get in touch with the director. We met regularly, let's say once a month or so, and I'd go into his office, and it was really my meeting. It was his meeting in his office, but it was my meeting. I'd bring in the agenda. I'd tell him, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. And basically, they were so comfortable with the results that they were getting that everything was okay, fine. All right, go ahead. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, be my guest. And so it just gave me it. The only other thing it gave me access to was the chief administrative officer of the county, who is basically running the county, who reported directly to the board of supervisors. And so I'd have some interaction with the board of supervisors. And there were, I guess, 8, 10 different departments, and they knew who I was. I knew who they were, kind of thing. If I needed to get in touch with them, I could. And if they needed to get in touch with me, they could.
Right. Yeah. The direct access is, critical sometimes too.
Yeah.
So as we're wrapping up now, how do people get in contact with you? Do you have a LinkedIn? Do you prefer, social media, email?
What is that stuff?
Right.
I have a LinkedIn address.
Okay.
So, but if someone's going to ask to be on my LinkedIn address, just make sure that they let me know that they were part of this, because I generally don't add names that I don't recognize. And I'd be willing to support anybody from Long Beach, but I'd like to know. Okay. Necessary to give out my personal email address? Do you think that would be helpful?
Well, I mean,
they could contact us, and if they want to get more information about you, we'll connect you guys.
There you go.
Via that way.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Well, Noemi, I'll bring it back to you.
Thank you, Vince and Walter, for a great conversation today.
Okay.
Really appreciate it. And again, if you want to connect with Walter, please reach out to our office, and we'll make sure to make an email introduction to you. Again, this session was recorded, and we'll be uploading it to our website in a couple of days. As a reminder to follow us on social media at CSUB Alumni to learn about future programs like this. So thank you and have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care.